Okay, today we're going to look at Bitcoin from a completely different angle. I want you to forget everything you think you know about it as money or an investment. We're talking about national security.
So, when you hear Bitcoin, what comes to mind? Digital money, right? A peer-to-peer electronic cash system. But what if that's just the tip of the iceberg? What if that's not even its real purpose?
And look, before you write this off as some fringe theory from the internet, get this. It's the central argument of a master's thesis from MIT, and the author, an active duty major in the US Space Force. Yeah, that changes things, doesn't it?
So, the source we're digging into is called Softwar, and it's by Major Jason Lowery. Now, this isn't just some random guy. He's an astronautical engineer, a national defense fellow at MIT, and his job was literally to research emerging tech. And his big takeaway? We've been looking at Bitcoin completely backwards.
Okay, think about it this way. For all of human history, nations have projected power physically, right? With armies on land, navies at sea, jets in the air, and now satellites in space. It's all about physical force. But then you have cyberspace. How in the world do you project physical power in a realm that's, well, just information?
And that's the heart of the problem, really. It's the fundamental weakness of our digital world. Lowery calls cyberspace a massless domain. It's a place with no physical substance, so it doesn't play by the same rules as, reality.
I mean, really think about it. A lock on your door works because it's backed by physical force. Someone has to break it down. But online, security is all about permissions, passwords, and rules. It's built on a foundation of trust, trusting people not to misuse the access they're given. And according to this thesis, that trust, that's the fatal flaw. So let's break that down. You've got your traditional cybersecurity on one side. It's all trust-based, it's logical, built on code. But that makes it vulnerable, right? It can be exploited. On the other side, you have physical security. That's a zero-trust system. It doesn't care about your permissions. It cares about physics, about watts and mass. It's robust because you can't sweet-talk your way through a steel door. It's immune to all that.
And this gets to the why. Lowery actually pulls a quote from Satoshi Nakamoto here. The root problem with peace is all the trust that's required to make it work. And that's the core idea. Any system that relies on trust is doomed to fail because people will eventually break that trust. It's just human nature.
Okay, so if trust is the weak link, what's the solution? How do you build a truly secure system online? Well, Lowery argues that you have to somehow, inject raw physical power into the digital world. You have to anchor it to reality.
And that's where proof of work comes in. And here's the key. Stop thinking about it as a way to mine coins. That's not his primary job from a security standpoint. Its real function is to make it incredibly physically expensive to change the data. It forces computers to burn massive amounts of real-world electricity. It literally forges a link between the digital bits and physical watts.
And the analogy Lowery uses for this is just brilliant. He compares it to stags locking antlers. Think about it. They don't have to fight to the death to see who's stronger. They just show their power. He says proof of work is like a global set of human antlers. It's a way for countries or groups to prove their strength by spending a ton of energy, but without anyone actually getting hurt. It's a non-lethal contest of power. And what's really wild is that this isn't a totally new idea. Lowery traces it back 100 years to guys like Nikola Tesla and Henry Ford. Tesla actually imagined settling wars with energy delivery contests, and Ford wanted a currency backed by energy, not by banks. Bitcoin, in this view, is the technology that finally makes both of those century-old ideas possible.
So if you have this new way of projecting power, this new security model, it naturally leads to a new kind of conflict, one that's fought not with bombs and bullets, but with electricity and algorithms. And Lowery has a name for it.
He calls it Softwar, and it's exactly what it sounds like, a way to project real physical power through cyberspace. It lets you impose actual, costly consequences on an enemy, all digitally, without a single shot being fired. It's a completely new, non-lethal way to defend your turfs online. And to get at the philosophy behind it, Lowery again goes back to Tesla. War can be stopped, not by making the strong weak, but by making every nation, weak or strong, able to defend itself. See, the point isn't to get rid of weapons. The point is to give everyone, big or small, an unbreakable shield in the digital world. So when you put it all together, what do you get?
Well, Softwar is non-lethal, which is huge. It's zero trust, so you don't have to rely on your enemy's good intentions. It's impartial. It doesn't care about politics, only about raw power, pure watts. And maybe most importantly, it's permissionless. And that means a smaller country could, in theory, stand up to a superpower and defend its digital border.
So, if this theory is even close to being right, the implications are just staggering. We're not talking about a new currency anymore. We're talking about a whole new kind of global arms race.
And this just flips the single biggest criticism of Bitcoin right on its head. You know, all that talk about its massive energy consumption, well, what if that's not a bug, but the most critical feature? That energy isn't waste. It's the cost of security. It's the price you pay to build that digital shield wall.
And this is where Lowery leaves us, with a pretty serious warning. He suggests we might be at the start of a new kind of Cold War. But this time, it's not a space race to build the best rockets. It's a cyberspace race to accumulate the most hash rate, the most computing power on the network. He calls it bit power. And the nation that controls the most bit power, well, they control the new digital high ground.
Which brings us to the final, really unsettling question. For over a decade, we've been arguing about Bitcoin as money. But what if we've been having the completely wrong conversation? What if, all this time, we've been looking at the 21st century's most critical defense technology and just seeing a quirky digital currency?